Hello everyone, welcome to eLearnChat, where talk, it's knowledge. And with me today are two talkers, but also two writers. We've got with us in the upper corner, we've got Pooja Jaisingh. She is an evangelist for Adobe, senior evangelist, and she's back with Adobe, by the way, if you're wondering, because she was on, I think earlier in the year, she had gone her own, decided to go back. And in the lower corner, we've got Damien, and I'm going to mess up his name, so Damien, say your last name.
Damien Bruyndonckx. It's Dutch from Belgium.
And it's not that hard. It's just that I don't want to say it wrong, so I'd rather have him say it right. Anyway, let's start the intro. A little advertising from our sponsors. And this is the book we're going to talk about today. All right, so we are back, and I'm really glad to have two. You know, the e-learning community is not that large, and when you deal with nice people in the e-learning community, it's always a pleasure. And I've got two very nice people with us today. Pooja's an old friend. I've known Damien for years, too. It's just that we've never met in person. Almost met this year, but we didn't get to do it. But you guys are both very well-known Adobe Captivate people. Pooja works with Adobe in the Captivate group. She's one of the senior evangelists, does a lot of presentations at trade shows, has won the championships in the, I think it's DevLearn you've won those, right? In the demo festival?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's won, I think, 2 or 3 of them already, if not more.
7, I guess, yeah.
7? You've won 7 of them? Oh, you're cute.
So right now, from last 1 or 2 years, I'm taking a little break so that others can get opportunity to win more.
Well, that's really good. Congratulations on all that. You do good work, and you have a nice passion for the product, and you've been true to the product for a long time. And Damien, you've been around the Captivate world at least probably a decade or more.
Yeah, I started with Captivate 1 actually. My first big Captivate project was in 2004 for a big company here. It was with Captivate 1, so I started at the beginning. At that time I was working for a macromedia training center, and because I was trained as an elementary school teacher, my boss told me, well, there is a new product here, it's about teaching, so you're a teacher, you might be interested, just have a look, and that's how it all started.
That's fun. I think I'm older than both of you, so I started with RoboDemo, and before that, FlashCam. That really goes back a long way. That was early 2002, I think. That's when FlashCam came out, and then it became RoboDemo when it got acquired. Then Macromedia acquired it, became still RoboDemo for a while. Then they called it, I think, Captivate, and then Adobe took it over for the last, I don't know, what's it been, 13, 14 years? It's been a long time. So, yeah, it's kind of fun watching the product grow, evolve, change. Now,
that's the first page of the book, Rick.
That is,
the history of Captivate.
And it's fun watching you guys. Now, Damien, you've written several books on Captivate already, and you've been very kind to me. I think I've written little something or other for each of the books, and thank you so much for that. But it's fun. What got both of you into writing a book together?
Well, this is my 5th book on Captivate, actually, and when they released Captivate 8, my book came out a little late after the release of Captivate 8, so they released Captivate 9 very close to the book release. A few weeks or months after the book was released, Captivate 9 was on the market. So I wasn't really up to starting the whole process again. And when they released Captivate 2017, I was really hesitating about writing just another book because it's a lot of work. But then at that time, Pooja has left Adobe. I met her in Las Vegas for the Adobe Learning Summit, and she told me, well, I really want to write a book, you know. So of course I took a good note of that sentence from her. I see she's laughing. And it was time to write this one. I wrote an email to Pooja and asking her, are you still up to it? And she says yes. So here we go.
Well, that's great. And you know, you guys you're both very knowledgeable in Captivate. You're really good. How was the experience working together?
It was fun. It was fun, Rick. So we used to have endless number of Skype chats, and we used to joke around. And we used to actually it was helpful because Damien already had the book for Captivate 8, so we had to take the existing book and update it for 2017. So in a way, it was a little easier. But then coming up with the new things that were added in 9 and 2017 was a little hectic. But we took about say 5 to 6 months to complete the book, and it was a lot of fun.
That's good. That's good because like Damien said, writing a book is a lot of work. It
is.
Everybody thinks, I'm going to write a book today. It's not that easy, especially technical books, and you have to go through. Did you guys do your own review process, or did somebody review it for you?
No, so we have a publisher. So the publisher is Pact Publishing, and they are supposed actually to search for a reviewer for us. So when we send the chapters during the writing process to Pact Publishing, they send it to the reviewers, and the reviewers are reviewing the first chapters as we write the upcoming chapters. And this year we had two awesome reviewers from the Captivate community, people that we know. One of them is Paul Winston from Canada.
Yes.
And the second one was Alice Hackler from Seattle. Okay. So we had a great review process.
That's good. That's good. And I know Packet's fussy. They don't want, they really make you go through a good review cycle. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. Which is great because I think when you have good reviewers like we had this time, it really enhances the book a lot. It brings a lot of extra thoughts into the book, and a lot of details are taken care of by a good review process. So I think it's critical for a book quality to have great reviewers, and we had this time.
Now we've
and we had an extra layer of review, which was reviewing each other's chapters. So whatever Damien was writing, I was reviewing and critiquing, and we were like, okay, we should add this, we should delete this, why not that. So it was a great, I would say, review portion of the book was pretty thorough, and I think we were able to get out a good product.
That's great. Now, when did the book come out officially?
The book came out on October 3rd, 2017, so right on time for DevLearn, actually. So it was a little bit later than expected. The target date was the end of September, mm-hmm. but it was early November. You know,
that's good.
Sometimes you cannot really control everything.
Now I have to ask you, because people always ask us, it's a paper book, so you have it in paper. Is it also electronic, like a Kindle book?
Yes.
Yes, good. That's good. I'll be buying the Kindle book. So
yes, so you can get the Kindle book on Amazon, and you can also, if you buy it directly from Pact Publishing, the Pact Publishing website, which is pactpub.com, it's usually a little cheaper than on Amazon, and you can get a lot of different ebook formats, including PDF, EPUB, Mobi, I think, and a few other.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah, and it's also available on Safari Online Books. If the organizations have subscription for that, they can access the book from Safari Online Books as well.
That's great. Well, I'm really glad for both of you doing the book. I think it's fun seeing what you guys are doing, and two, it's always fun to see the collaborations between, people who are well into the product. Now, what do you see as different in Adobe and Captivate 2017, for example, from Captivate 8 or 9?
So let me take that question. So in 2017, the responsive workflow has changed completely. So previously we used to have breakpoints for designing content, where you had like 3, 4, or 5 breakpoints where you design content individually. With 2017, there is fluid boxes, which just allow you to create a structure, something like a wireframe that we do in the web world. It allows you to create those boxes, and you add content into those boxes, and when you go to the smaller devices, those boxes auto-arrange themselves based on whatever rules you set. So it's pretty interesting, and I would say it's the newest technology in creating responsive e-learning courses, and it's fun.
That's pretty good. Is that also being used by other Adobe products? That kind of responsive?
No, that is for Captivate only. Yep.
That's good.
And another good thing that was added in 2017 was compatibility for typekit fonts, so that you don't have to use those boring web-safe fonts in your courses. You can use some nice, interesting fonts in your courses, and it'll look right on any device.
Yeah, and I think it's, 37 typekit WebKit fonts? I think it was 37. It may be more by now, but
it's a lot more now.
It's a lot
so
more.
I think Typekit acquired a lot of more fonts and font companies. So there is a lot of variety. And if you have Creative Cloud subscription, you get like 100 free fonts. So you have a lot to use here.
And those all work on WebKit?
Damien can answer that question, I guess.
Yeah. Actually, if you have that subscription, there are a few free fonts. I don't know how much exactly, more than 100. And if you have a Creative Cloud subscription, you get even a lot more than that. And they work in all browsers. Yes.
Yeah. Actually, I love the Creative Cloud, and you know, there's always been that argument of should we go subscription or should we? I like the subscription. I find it
me too.
Nice. It's easy to get all the products, and of course, we have a subscription to Captivate. I think we have a couple to Captivate. We have some that were just licenses, and then we've got the Creative Cloud. Now, do you think Captivate will ever make the Creative Cloud?
Well, I leave that to Pooja. That's a touchy question.
Yeah, that's a touchy one.
As of now, no, because they are separate products for separate audience. So I don't see that happening.
Too specific.
I wouldn't say at all, but not in the near future. No.
Okay. It's still too specific a product, or it's a niche market, really.
Sure.
That's good. So what else? What else is new in 2017?
In 2017, there is also a new capabilities for closed captioning. So, and I'm really happy because that was a long time ago one of my feature requests actually, and it's actually the ability to format the closed captions on a slide-to-slide basis. And so you can, for example, imagine that you have a slide with a clear background, and then the next slide you have a dark background. If you really want the closed caption to stand out on both slides, you want to change the color of those closed captions on each slide, on a slide-to-slide basis. So previously, it was possible to choose the color of the closed caption before the whole project. Now you can do that on a slide-to-slide, and not only for the format of the closed captioning, but also for the position of the closed captions on the slide. So that is a really cool addition, I think.
That is nice.
Enhances a lot of the projects, and it makes accessibility even better.
Yeah, I always laugh a lot of times when I see closed captioning. It's so small, you go, that's not accessible. So, and you're right, or they put it a dark background with dark text, you can't read it, or vice versa. So it's nice you have the capability to reformat and do all that. You were involved with accessibility. I remember back in the old days. You've always had an interest in that. Damien.
I'm interested in accessibility because I think we all have to be interested in accessibility. It's an important part of every web project. Actually, I'm also a web developer, so and basically when we do Captivate, we do web content. So the same rules apply to Captivate and to a traditional website. And I think it's part of our job as developers, e-learning developers, web developers, to take care of accessibility. But I think Pooja was also involved in accessibility a lot on Adobe's side, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. So yeah, I keep doing a lot of webinars and sessions at conferences, and I make sure I pass on the message that you have to keep your content accessible. It's a little more, I would say, pain to add all that accessibility text and take care that everybody is able to consume the content. But I would say the results are really nice. Everybody is able to access your content, and what can be more beautiful than that?
Well, yeah, it's sort of interesting. There's been some studies done that 80% of the websites are unreadable. And you just kind of shake your head and go.
It's a part we always overlook. And I think that one of the newest, I think the only new chapter actually in this edition of the book is a chapter on accessibility, and that was one of Pooja's ideas. So when she looked at the table of content of the previous book at the very early stages of this one, she told me, well, there is something missing in your table of content. You don't speak about accessibility. So she took over the new chapter and wrote an entire chapter only on accessibility. And I think it's the only Captivate book that takes care of that subject, of that topic in depth.
Oh, that's great. Well, Pooja, thank you. As someone who occasionally needs accessible content, I appreciate it. So, especially the visual. Yeah.
Great. I want to talk to you about another great addition in Captivate 2017, which was the enhancements in the advanced actions dialog and the ability to combine standard and conditional actions, and also creating a loop condition. So those were some of the things that were added and gave more power to do more stuff with Captivate. So that's, I would say, another great thing that was added in Captivate 2017. I'm sure the power users were really happy to see that finally happening.
Yeah, we were very happy to see the loop in there. Now, I don't think there's a case statement yet. I'm trying to remember. No, case would be good too. Then you have the multiple case conditions.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's going to come. I used to always
maybe that's next.
That may be next. That'll be a great one. Well, Captivate's come a long way. I mean, you guys keep doing interesting things with Captivate, and I also find the product now just a whole lot more stable than it used to be, many versions back. So that's good. That's good. It's getting to the point where I think it's a solid contender for a very good product today's day and age. So that's good. There's been good effort done on the engineering team. So we're happy to see that.
Yeah, it's great. It's moving a lot, and each time because obviously we are both included in the beta testing of Captivate. So when we have the first builds of Captivate, I'm always wondering, how am I going to fit that in a book? Because when I see all those new things coming at each version, I'm like, how am I going to write the next book? There is just too many things to cover, and it's already very thick. So I think next time, Pooja, we're gonna have to take away a few of the older stuff. That's gonna be a challenge, though.
I actually got an email not too long ago.
we can maybe remove all the Flash-related thing and just bring in all the new things.
So, are you focusing more right now on HTML5?
Well, Adobe announced that they would not support the Flash player after 2020. Right. So, I'm not in the team, but I expect that Captivate will become an HTML5 only authoring environment, which is what it's bound to be. I think that's a natural evolution. We are still in a transition, I believe. Yeah. But in a few versions, I think that the old Flash will be completely gone from Captivate, and that a few objects will need to leave Captivate, like the rollover objects that are only available in Flash, or the how is that called again? The rollover slidelet. That's it. I never used that object, so that's why I forget its name. But it's only available in the Flash world, and so that is something that I expect will leave Captivate, which would be logical.
Yeah, I was sorry though. It's sort of funny. We all have our love and hate with Flash, but I actually miss Flash because it was fun. It was a good language. It was a good tool, and it could do a lot of things. So HTML5 is good, but we're losing some things that people liked, although they liked it a lot, probably more than they should. But
Yeah, and to a certain extent, I'm currently preparing a course for our LinkedIn Learning on HTML5 video and audio, and I think Flash pioneered a lot of that, and it is technologies like Flash that makes us accustomed to video, audio, and interaction on the web, and I think that HTML5 took a lot of inspiration into what the plugins were doing. So we have to be thankful to Flash and all the other plugins for showing us the way. And I'm sure HTML5 will finally get there. But it's a bad thing that people are mad about Flash. I think Flash had its moment. It was very useful, and it has contributed a lot to where we are today.
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. It was in its day, it was really pretty innovative. So it was
absolutely.
Good. It's sort of interesting that what kind of hurt Flash the most were the cell phones, of all things. Actually, I really think there was nothing wrong with Flash other than politics between Apple and Adobe. Beyond that, I don't think there was really that much of an issue. It was a made-up issue. Let's just put it that way. That's my opinion.
Yeah, it's like that for a lot of issues. Again, I'm currently researching that topic on HTML5 video and audio, and when you see the war on video and audio formats on the internet between the browsers, it's really the same thing. It's about politics, it's about money, it's about economy, but it has nothing to do with technical issues, actually.
No. And it's interesting. Recently, the browser that became #1 worldwide was Firefox. I was surprised. I've been using Firefox forever, and they actually are now more popular than the old IE, or Internet Explorer, which is sort of interesting. And second,
That's interesting.
I was actually surprised. And then it's IE, and then it's Chrome. And Safari's somewhere like fourth or fifth, third or fourth.
Okay.
I thought Chrome
I've stopped using other browsers. It's just been Chrome for me. If things don't work on Chrome, then I move to other browsers. But Chrome has been my main browser for almost 5 years now.
Okay. And Chrome's fast. Actually, the new new Windows Edge browser, I am almost positive is embedded Chrome, though they won't admit it. Because we get Chrome error messages when things go bad on Edge. And I don't have Chrome on my machine, so I'm going, now this is interesting. I'm getting Chrome error message from Windows. That's good.
I never really looked into Edge because I'm working on a Mac, so and Edge doesn't work on a Mac. Yeah. But I think it's a very good thing that IE is finally going away and that Edge is there, because it will help go forward and be compliant with the standards. It will help a lot.
That's true. And by the way, Damien, I have to tell you, you and I have known each other for years. We've emailed a lot. I think we've texted or whatever. I've never heard you before, and your English is impeccable. So,
thank you.
I've never heard you in person. I was going, your English is really quite good. So,
yeah, I cheat. I lived in the United States, actually. I began my career in the United States. I was French teacher in Louisiana.
Ah, interesting.
Because French is my native language.
Right.
So I learned English, the bad Southern accent. That's how I learned my English.
Just say y'all. Just say y'all a lot. Y'all.
Y'all. How you doing, dude?
Yeah. That's funny. How long
did
you live here?
Like the South? A little bit.
You know what I love about the South, though? It's one of the few places in the country where people are very polite. They have respect. They're a little better. In other places, not so much. We live in California, which is no respect. There's not a lot of this. People are somewhat polite, but it depends. But the South is very, very polite.
Yeah, I really enjoyed living there and working there. And again, I picked up most of my English. And actually, 3 years after that, in 2001, when I came back to Belgium, I came across a company in Belgium that was looking for pedagogical profile with a knowledge of English. So that was perfect for me.
Perfect fit.
And that's how I started as an IT trainer, actually.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That was my old background, IT. I spent 20-something years in IT. And it was fun. It was fun. Then I went into multimedia. Some people call that a midlife crisis. I don't know. I was pretty happy with both. So I like e-learning. I like training and development. But I was really an IT guy for many, many years.
Yeah, and it's very interesting when you can mix all your talents into your occupation, just like I'm doing now. I'm still into pedagogy. I'm still into teaching with Captivate. I'm doing a lot of courses. I'm recording for LinkedIn Learning, and at the same time, I'm in multimedia. I develop. I record for Captivate. I make videos because I'm also a sound engineer. I also studied sound engineering after I studied teaching.
So you know what I have in front of me. Most people have no. What's that? It's a microphone, right? Yeah. Actually, a lot of people say, "Why do you have so much equipment?" I go, "We want it to sound good. It's it's fun. Audio engineering is wonderful.
It's great, and again, it's overlooked a lot of time, especially when we do e-learning. Everyone is, focusing on the visual aspect, but the audio is critical. And I had a talk in Washington. Adobe has 2 conferences each year, one in Las Vegas, one in Washington.
Yes.
And I had a session in Washington on producing audio for Captivate. And I told the audience that when I do a concert, when I mix a concert, because I do that from time to time, nobody comes to me at the end of the show to say, well, that was a great sound, but everyone goes to the other guy just next to me who is doing the lights. And everyone goes to the light man saying, well, that was an awesome show, that was beautiful.
Yep.
But nobody comes to me to say, well, that was a good sound, even though it's a concert, you see. So this is to say that we are in a very visual society, but still audio is critical, especially in e-learning. And you don't notice audio until it's bad.
Well, it's funny you say that. When I've taught video, for example, video shooting, video editing, I always tell people, okay, video is important, but if your sound is bad, you will lose on the video. In fact, I tell people, get your PlayStation, get your Nintendo, get whatever you have, and turn off the sound while you're watching a game. And when they do that, they go, wow, the game was really lousy. Because the emotion is gone. Without sound, there's no emotion at all. None. Zero. And people don't realize that, how important sound is to anything. Sound away.
How important sound is also, and in e-learning, people are most of the time listening to the projects with headphones, like the one I have now.
Right.
So it's very important. And what you say, Rick, just a few minutes ago, you say we emailed together, but it's the first time that you hear me.
Yes.
You see? Yeah. So you notice the sound, and when you hear someone's voice, it's like there is a very specific connection that is made.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why I said you have a very nice voice, and you also speak English perfectly. Very, very well spoken. And
your English is nice too.
Yeah, and I never do that. And English is my second language. So, though I was 3 years old when I came here, so Spanish wasn't much of a language either. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. Pooja, what made you go back to Adobe?
I was missing my friends.
You were a very integral part of the team. I know many times people don't praise the evangelists a lot for the work that they do, but you and Alan were both working as evangelists, and it made a big difference to what people perceived about the product and the way it was put out there. You did a really nice, wonderful job. I don't kid around when I say that. I'm working right now with 2 of the nicest people in the e-learning industry, and that's for me a great pleasure, because some of the people aren't so nice. There are a lot of nice people, but you folks are very nice. And Pooja, you've always been, and I've seen you tired at the shows, and there's always a smile, and it's hard not to love you for that, if you know what I mean.
Just before we picked up the show, just before we went on air, we were on Skype, and Pooja sent me a nice message. She sent me, voice check, headphone check, and smile check.
Smile check. Oh, Pooja, you don't need a smile. You're always smiling. So, but no, I've seen Pooja at many of the trade shows, and we always say, "How's your daughter doing?" And your daughter's older now. Was she 5 or 6?
She's 7 now.
7. God, I remember when she was like 1. So,
yeah.
Time flies. Time
That was
flies.
long back, right? I came first time on eLearnChat in 2012. So I was just looking at the recording today, and I shared it with Damien also. Here's my first eLearnChat.
Yeah.
And that was in 2012. Yeah, that time Mishti was I think 1.5 or 2.
Yeah. I
Maybe
remember
2,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, she likes her daughter a lot. Anyway, well, guys, would you any closing comments on either of you before we bring this one to a close?
Well, closing comment, we have a great book, so it's that's with both our names on the cover. So that's a great resource, of course, to learn Captivate. And if you want to get it, the best thing to do is to go to the Pact Publishing website, pactpub.com, and to search for Mastering Adobe Captivate 2017, and you can get a lot of different formats, including a hard copy and also PDF, EPUB, Mobi, and I think Amazon Kindle as well.
That's right.
So that was my closing statement.
That's wonderful. And yeah, definitely do buy the book out there. It's a great book. I had a chance to read parts of it when it was still pre-production, and it's a good book. It's a good book, a lot of good information, and it's an Adobe product. There's not a lot of documentation, so buy the book. It helps. Yeah, nobody does documentation anywhere, so that helps. Pooja, any closing comments you'd like to make?
No, it was wonderful being here, Rick. It's always nice talking to you, seeing you at the shows, and coming here at eLearnChat. So thank you very much for inviting both of us, and it was great chatting with you.
Well, same here, my pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you at the next show. Maybe if you guys are at Learning Solutions, I think we're going to try to make it there this year. So hopefully we can see you guys over there.
Sure.
Sure.
We'll see what we can do.
Anyway, we will have the book information on the show notes, so if you're interested in the book, there'll be a link there to go to probably Amazon and pick it up, or Packet Publishing. We'll put some of the links on there in the show notes, and we look forward to seeing you two again soon. So good luck on the book, and thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week on eLearnChat. Have a good one, everyone. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.